Was there ever a part of you that wished that things had worked out in the States, or was it just a byproduct of the time? You know what I mean? Like, I think for me growing up, obviously you look at people like Jin, who were kind of the forerunners of that, and him signing Rough Rider was kind of like, oh, that's a big victory for Asians. But the reality of it was, it probably wasn't the right time. You know, how do you look back on like you needing to leave to potentially find, you know, a sort of level of validation?
Yeah. For me, it wasn't ever, trying to find a level of validation. I never wanted to become a singer or a rapper or even a celebrity when I was younger. That wasn't my goal. That wasn't my dream. It all happened very, very organically. Like I used to, rap for fun. I used to dance, and my mom was like, "Yo, go audition for this thing." I auditioned, and then they casted me. And at that time, we were kind of tight on money, and so I was like, "Yo, okay." And then, my mom was like, "Yo, go over there. Like this is a good opportunity for you. Like take this opportunity." And my grades weren't that good, anything like that. So it's like, okay, I'll go over here and try to do well and support my family. That was like my priority. That was like my motive. It wasn't to become famous or to do music or anything like that.
As kids, we rarely embark on a passion with the end goal of making it big. We do it simply because we love it. However, time and time again, we see the most passionate and the most honest to their craft discover not only a way to get paid for their passion, but a viable way to the top. And sometimes that path involves crossing an ocean a few times. From Seattle to Seoul and back to the States, Korean-American entertainer Jay Park has certainly taken the long and winding road to achieve success. It's been messy. Turning passion into a full-fledged career is hard enough. Doing so away from home in another country would be unthinkable if not for the right opportunities, the right mindset, and maybe just the right mother.
I wish that stuff worked out over in the States because I wasn't trying to do music in the States. You know what I'm saying? Like all this happened very, very organically. And timing wise, I feel like I was reaching a plateau in Korea. And so I was trying to make more music in English anyways. And that's when this Roc Nation thing happened. So everything just kind of happened like destiny. Like God's putting everything into place.
As one of the most recent artists to sign to the Jay-Z founded entertainment label Roc Nation, Jay Park has become an important link between Asia and North America. But opportunities of this magnitude don't just happen overnight. Instead, they come together bit by bit over countless days spent grinding, racking up wins, and working to get better. It goes without saying that it takes motivation to distinguish yourself in the entertainment business. But in the K-pop world, let's just say that distinguishing yourself isn't exactly up to you. Seeing Korea as what it is, like as a creative culture, like I think there's a certain sense of understanding of what it's like to put someone through the gauntlet to make someone start ready, right?
Yeah.
How did you look at that process, and how did you maintain your own identity within that when someone else is putting you through?
Yeah, I mean, you can't really maintain your own identity, especially when you're in kind of that big machine factory where they're kind of just like, telling you what to do and telling you what to say and telling you what kind of music you do, telling you what to wear. So it's kind of hard to find your own identity. And that's kind of where a lot of the idol groups and stuff like that, they kind of have frustrations because they're like, yo, I do this, I do that, but I there's no outlet, no platform where I could show what I do. So that's where they have a lot of frustrations. Me, I was only in it for about a year. And then, unfortunately, stuff went kind of left and we had to part ways. But after that, I just kind of like did whatever I felt was right. I didn't want to be in a situation where there's people telling me what I need to do, what I need to wear, and stuff like that. Cause that's not, I'm not comfortable with it. It's not for me. I did it and it wasn't for me. And so I started doing stuff my own way. And at first, it's kind of rocky because it's like a trial and error thing. Everything I do wasn't the right thing, but I learned from all my mistakes. And so that's when I started getting better and better and better and started really finding my path and finding what I needed to do.
Like most K-pop idols, Jay had to go through the literal boot camps that shaped their trainees into industry standard stars, or break them in the process. In an interview with the Glow Up podcast, he speaks of his experiences with the mental and physical abuse that shaped him, which he concedes is synonymous with the Korean way.
Because the culture in itself was kind of like, when you get like certain lyrics wrong or you get like a certain dance move wrong, they would like literally hit you.
Oh,
You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of like the Korean way, you know?
Yeah.
It's not like that now. It's much better now. But back then they were like, he's like, let's say like this is the move. It's like, you motherfucker, just kind of like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, and they wouldn't do that to me because like I was very good at dancing. So like, but I would see like this, I'd see this dude
I
next
didn't
to
get
me.
that, but the homie,
Yeah, the dude next to me, he's getting some shit wrong and he's getting his ass whipped. I'm like, oh my God, okay.
During his first foray into K-pop, Jay assumed the role as leader of the boy band 2PM and was destined to be part of Korea's high-profile entertainment landscape. But his meteoric rise with 2PM was relatively short-lived. A private conversation Jay had with a friend dating back to 2005 included him making disparaging comments against Korea on MySpace. This led to his removal from the group. It's clear that Jay always felt some type of way regarding the way Korean stars were bred, and his comparatively radical mindset meant him and his adopted industry would part ways. He would return to the US and close what had begun as a promising chapter of his career. But it wouldn't be the last the world heard of Jay Park.
Do you ever think there was a moment where, if this never worked out, could you live with the failure of not making it? How would that have, like, how, you as a person, like how would you, how do you react to failure?
So what I did, what I do is my philosophy is as long as you're not dead, it's like there's gonna be another chance, you know. As long as you keep a positive mind and you have good intent, as long as your motives are right, I feel like even if you fail, because everyone fails, you know, failure it's a natural thing in life, but it's how you deal with it. It's how you come back from it. I feel like that's the most important thing. So, you know, even when me and the group parted ways and me and my old company parted ways, I went back to Seattle. I worked at a used tire shop. So I went from going on TV and being like this huge star to going back to Seattle and changing used tires for like 6 months. But for me, that I wasn't like, oh, what am I doing? It's like, no, that's just life. You know, I didn't want to go back and spend my parents' money. So I was just like, yo, I'll just, you know, work at this job part-time just to, you know, get money so I could chill with the homies, go, you know, eat, whatever. And then, you know, oddly enough, shit started to go right again. So it's kind of like, yeah, I mean, I never look at failure as like the last chance.
Sometimes it may feel like you're getting conflicting messages from Jay, but it's really just his social and cultural awareness coupled with industry experience. Show business has required him to navigate choppy waters. Different situations need different personas. Spending the last decade or so in Korea has given Jay a good understanding of a culture that couldn't be more different than the United States. But this could very well be his advantage, especially at a time when, as he said, the world is looking at Korea now more than ever. A personality defined by blending different cultures allows you to analyze different situations from different perspectives, and more importantly, choose how you'll act. Jay has been able to find a balance between weaving himself into the cultural fabrics of Korea and the States and recognizing where change is needed. For one, he recognizes the flaws in the hierarchical entertainment industries prevalent in most of Asia.
What do you think is the one thing you would like to improve upon or inject into Korean creative culture?
Just to let people be more free.
Yeah.
Because right now everyone's so afraid of like taking risk and what their elders are gonna think, what their superiors are gonna think, what their seniors are gonna think. You know, people, the older people, they don't want the younger people to surpass them, so they're kind of like, you know, cutting them down. And so like, nah, it's just gotta be like, yo, like more free, be more free, and help each other out. It's like if you can't be afraid to let someone surpass you. You know what I'm saying? It's like if they surpass you, it's a win for both of you guys. You know what I'm saying? That's how you got to think of it, especially if you're on the same team. It's like the people are like, they're too competitive. They're too like, it's such a too competitive to a point where it's kind of like they get jealous. You shouldn't be jealous or envious. It's like you should be competitive so that you can, you know, build that synergy and feed off of each other. But you shouldn't be cutting people down. You know what I'm saying? And I see a lot of that.
But at the same time, Jay recognizes the tact needed for him to succeed in both markets, something that could be either a product of his character or his near decade living in Korea.
Do you think that there's this balance between arrogance and confidence that's perceived a certain way in Asia versus how it's perceived in North America or the Western world?
Of course. You can't in Asia. You know, if you're gonna pop off like a lot of the people do in the States, it's not gonna be received very well. I mean, a lot of people are gonna talk about you. You're definitely gonna get a lot of haters. But you definitely have to be able to back it up. But thus far, everyone that's been super, you know, successful or popping has been pretty humble for the most part. Even everyone I've met, you know, there's a reason why they're at this spot they're at, is because, and longevity wise as well, because they have the right mindset. Like you got to know, like you can be able to learn something from. You're able to learn something from anyone. Even if they're younger, even if it's a baby, even if it's a homeless man, you know, they might have something that, you know, you can learn from, and vice versa. You know, it's like everyone, you know, is teaching each other. Everyone is, you know, so I don't know, like, unless you're like Conor McGregor, like he can back it up. He talks a lot of shit, but he backs it up. So, but other than that, yeah, everyone I've met for the most part has been super humble.
While Jay's cultural background has made him gain traction both in Korea and his home country, the key character trait that's helped him stay in the game this long is a pretty universal one. It's the willingness to put yourself out there and stand firm, no matter what the crowd says.
So someone has to be like, yo, I want to do my own thing, and kind of have to take all the blame and take all the flack. Like, no, that's not right. Like, no, that's not the right way to do it. But then once someone does that and they keep on going and fight, they can get through all those obstacles, then people will start seeing, oh, it's not that bad after all, you know? Oh, there is another way. So, I mean, I think it's very important for people to continue to kind of just fight for what they believe in, you know? Even if it's not the most popular opinion at the time, you have to be willing to take that risk. You know, like I feel like a lot of people, they're afraid of taking risks because they're afraid they're gonna get bashed on the internet or whatever. But that is getting flack on the internet is nothing.
So, one question that pertains to you're now, you know, you just signed a new deal with Roc Nation. How does that change your ability to kind of connect these two worlds, East and West?
It's huge. It's huge. I mean, even just the fact that a place like Roc Nation is giving someone like me looks, because, you know, even in this like Korean K-pop world, I'm not the biggest artist. You know, I definitely am doing my thing in a way where no one else is doing it. Paving my own lane, but number-wise, like, you know, celebrity-wise or whatever, there's a lot of people with a bunch more followers than me, But just the fact that they acknowledge my music and they acknowledge all the work I've put in, because not a lot of people, they don't acknowledge the whole grind, the whole story. Yeah. They only think about numbers and just fame and if you're popping at the time. Yeah. But I feel like Roc Nation, they really find like an importance in character and what your story is, what you're about, you know, what you value as a person. Yeah. I feel like they take that into consideration. And so just the fact that someone like Roc Nation, someone like Jay-Z, people who work with Rihanna and J. Cole acknowledged me like that in itself is just, I'm very thankful for that, first off.
Yeah.
And then just, I feel like now there's like a lot of doors that can be open, because before I wouldn't know how to maneuver in the States. I would have no idea. I don't know how things work there. I haven't, done anything there officially.
Yeah.
But now, these guys they know what they're doing, so they can kind of show me the ropes.
Why do you think this Roc Nation thing happened, now and maybe not a year ago, 2 years ago? Why is it the right time now?
Because even a year ago, 2 years ago, I was still progressing. Like I was still, finding my place in Korea. I had just made AOMG. It was just kind of getting established. I was just kind of like, people were just starting to recognize and kind of acknowledge me as like, yo, like this guy is not just some guy. Like he made a label. He's a CEO of a label. It's like a hip hop label. It's successful. He's putting out albums. They're doing well. He's putting out a bunch of content. I'm doing hip hop and R&B and getting acknowledgement for both. And so just kind of like all the accolades and all the achievements kind of just piling up. And then they started to just kind of, and they came to one of our shows and they saw the show and they're like, yo, like we have to work with this guy. And so that kind of built up into a deal. And so I think it came at a perfect time, just like movement wise in general, as where, you see like Keith Ape and Rich Chigga and Higher Brothers and just certain just Asian faces in the American hip hop world. And also came a perfect time in my life, in my career, where it's like, yo, I feel like I've done everything I can do. I can't do much more here.
Yeah.
I've made 2 labels. I've gotten awards. I've been on, I've done everything I could do here. And so for me to kind of like move on, and I speak, pretty good English too. So it's like, why not try to do shit in English, with Roc Nation.
Jay's since come home, and he says he doesn't plan to change himself to better fit into the US market. More importantly, this latest chapter won't be just about him anymore.
It was just, the challenge was just to make a song. That was the challenge, because I wasn't very seasoned at making music yet.
Yeah.
And now as you get more money, now it's like there's taxes. Oh shit, what am I gonna do? How do I manage this money? What do I need to spend it on? I don't want to just blow all my money on buying cars and jewelry. You know what I'm saying? Like I want to really be able to, even if I don't make music my whole life, I want me, my family, my friends to be good. So it's how do I spend this money? And once I created a label, how do I break these artists? What do I do for their careers? What do we need to do?
Yeah.
And then it becomes 1 artist, 2 artists, 3 artists, 1 label, 2 label. And then, and just there's challenges every day. Before it's kind of like, everyone in Korea, they didn't really see me as a hip hop artist. They kind of saw me as like a pop, like sugar factory artist, which I was at one point. But then once I started doing my solo thing, I wasn't. And to break out of that mold, to get out of that image that everyone saw of me, it took a lot of work. It took and it wasn't like I had to force it. It just happened super naturally.
Yeah.
I just had to put in a lot of work. I just felt like, yo, you like these guys want to work? Okay, I'm down to work. I think you're dope. You guys think I'm dope. Let's work. And it just kind of like continuing to add on to all that, all the grinding, all the work, all the music. And then people slowly started to see. And then 7 years later, now it's kind of like a whole different story.
And it's this work ethic that defines Jay. He never dreamed about becoming a star, but simply recognized that success comes from a very real place. The feeling of a grind, challenge, and disappointment. But also thrown in there is gratitude. So it makes you wonder, where did Jay get this from?
Yeah, where do you find that sort of martyr vibe where you're like, I'm going to put the whole team on my back, Where do you think that comes from?
I don't know. It definitely comes from, hip hop for sure.
Yeah.
Like hip hop ever since, even though I'm not from the hood, but everyone's like, I'm gonna get on and put my whole hood on or put the whole crew on. That definitely plays a big part in it. And just because, I grew up with a big family, there's always like family functions where all the cousins would come and we'd all go to church together or whatever it may be. I think because of that as well. And just even being part of a b-boy crew.
Yeah.
When I was in high school, same b-boy crew still, but being part of that crew, definitely like that brotherhood, like, let's look out for each other. And it's like, it's not even just that. It's like, I feel like just everyone has to look out for each other. Because this is like some other stuff, but I feel like there are a select few with all the money in the world that control everything, and they kind of want like people to kind of fight for crumbs. It's like we shouldn't be fighting for crumbs. Like we should all be helping each other out and spreading love and positivity, and realizing like there's some other stuff going on. It's not just about, the fighting for crumbs and all the other petty shit. Like we need to get over the petty shit.
Yeah.
Really, really realize what's going on and open your eyes,
Jay embraces a counterculture point of view to the current industry. Depending on which side you fall on, it's a point of contention that has plagued many industries for some time. Despite the fact that celebrities, more than ever, are accessible through all channels available to them, sometimes you need to zoom out a significant amount to understand you're looking at but a slice of someone's personality. Jay Park, the Korean and soon-to-be global pop star, has a number of unexpected facets to him. As much as you may be cultured a certain way, the dual vantage points offers a choice that others may not enjoy. The cultural awareness of Korea, partnered with a certain hip-hop and family mindset, are things that have been pivotal towards Jay's ability to persevere.